Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you get your property questions in and we get excited and give you some property answers back. The format works wonderfully well and this week we've got some great questions lined up. But before we get into it, let's remind you how you can be the star of the show.
Yes, here is what you do. You give us a call on 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or if you prefer, you can go to propertyhub.net/ask. Both of those methods are a surefire way to following in the fine footsteps of our first questioner today. So let's have a listen.
Hey Rob and Rob, love the podcast, love all the content that you give me every week. I found it really valuable and it's actually really helped me a lot. So I'm in a position, lucky enough to have properties now across my portfolio in 3 different cities. And I'm really comfortable with that. I'm really happy being a remote investor. But my question is it possible to invest in too many cities? Just wondering if you had any thoughts or advice on that. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
This is a great question and well done. Some great cities you've chosen there. I think you'll do very well. There probably is a point when you can invest in too many towns and cities. You know, there's going to be that point when you're going into your 20th place and suddenly you're now in Inverness and so it's got a bit too much because the systems that you need in place will be slightly different for every town and city. However, there are benefits to spreading your portfolio. Different areas will perform at different levels at different times. So right now, Manchester's doing really well. London, not so good. And Nottingham's showing plenty of promise. So because you've spread your portfolio across 3 different locations, overall, your portfolio's doing quite well. Now, personally, I think I'm spread across 8 to 10 different towns or cities. And that's okay because for the majority of them, they're let by Property Hub Let and they can cover most of those areas. So I'm actually only dealing with a few letting agents. And this is it. When it comes to contacts, this is where the downside of spreading your portfolio comes in because you are going to need different letting agents. You are going to need to get your knowledge up on each and every area. So there is more effort that way. So as you would expect, there's balance. There's not a perfect number. It's the right number for you. Some people will feel terrified at the prospect of investing outside their own local area and never mind in multiple areas. But if you can get your head around it, a balanced portfolio of different types of properties across half a dozen locations, as long as you get the systems and processes in and work with the right teams, you should do very well. So yes, there probably is a point where it becomes too many. But if you wanted to add a few more places to your portfolio, I don't think you'd go too far wrong, especially if you're doing okay so far, getting up to 3 locations.
Okay, great answer there. And we've still got time for one more question. So let's have a listen.
Hi Rob and Rob, it's Lindsey here from Brighton. So I've just completed on a flat in Manchester and the lettings agent said I should let it out furnished. So should I be spending big on this? Is second-hand furniture okay? And does it need any sort of safety checks, that sort of thing? I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts on this. Also, I love the podcast and all the content you guys do. It's a big help. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
Really good question. And it can be a tricky one to get right because you definitely don't want to go overboard. There's just no point getting the fanciest stuff. It's going to make minimal difference to the rent you can achieve or the tenants you can attract unless you have a particularly high-end property that's going for the real premium tenants, premium rents. On the other hand, though, furniture that is noticeably old and worn and rickety will put tenants off, and it will ultimately cost you more and cause you more hassle because you're going to have things breaking and be expected to fix it more regularly. So what should you do? Well, pitch it somewhere in the middle. There are a few different options. So you can go down the IKEA route. I've done it before. IKEA has a reputation of not being the most hard-wearing, but I've not had a problem. Or if you want to put in the absolute minimum effort, there are companies who are dedicated to supplying landlord furniture. So you can just buy a pack from them. They'll turn up, they'll put it all together for you, and you won't have to lift a finger. And that furniture tends to be quite hard-wearing because they know it can get a bit used and abused. That can be a viable option if you can find furniture that is nearly new or in great condition and for some reason it's going spare. I'd stay away from it if it's not in particularly good condition, or it's a bit rickety, or it's particularly dated and it's going to compromise the appearance of the property. You're probably not going to save vast amounts of money over new, so it might not be worth it. From a safety point of view, you just need to keep in mind that your furniture has to meet certain fire standards. So anything that has any kind of soft furnishing element, like beds or sofas or chairs, must meet fire safety regs, and it has to have a label attached showing that it does. Any new furniture that you buy in the UK will do, so you don't have to worry about it. Second-hand furniture likely will do as well, but if it's a bit older or it originates from somewhere abroad, there's a chance that it won't. So that's another reason in favour of going new, because that's something you won't have to think about. So all in all, new is probably the way to go, but you don't have to spend big bucks, and you can always take a steer from your letting agent. They're probably going to have relationships with suppliers, or they're going to know what other landlords do locally that works well for them.
Okay, so there we are. We've furnished you with 2 answers. And we will be back next week on Ask Rob and Rob to give you more again, so make sure you join us for that. And of course, we'll be back with the main event, the Property Podcast, on Thursday, so do not miss that. So until those wondrous events take place, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.